The elders had warned them. For years they had spoken about the dangers of underestimating humans. They had seen it all, the rise of civilizations and the fall of empires, yet no one listened. The leaders of the galaxy ignored their words, thinking the elders were too old, too cautious. They dismissed the warnings as fear-mongering. Captain Adam Harris stood in the command center of the Galactic, Council's flagship. The hum of the ship's engines was steady, but his mind raced. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The message he had just received made his blood run cold. The humans had activated something dangerous. A weapon. Adam had always thought of humans as a small, weak species. Their technology had never compared to that of the galaxy's larger powers. They were seen as nothing more than a footnote in the grand story of the stars. But now, something was changing. The message from the Council had been clear. The humans have mobilized, it said. They've created a weapon that we don't understand. Adam knew the elders had spoken of such things, but he had never taken them seriously. He thought the galaxy's vast resources and advanced technology were enough to handle any threat. Now he wasn't so sure. We ignored them, Adam muttered to himself. His fingers tightened around the armrest of his chair. The elders had warned the galaxy for decades about the humans. They had said that if the humans were pushed too far, they would fight back with everything they had. But no one listened. It was too late. As Adam looked out into the endless stars, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. The galaxy had always been at peace, but that peace was about to shatter. The humans, small and underestimated, were no longer the insignificant force they once were. They were becoming something else, something terrifying. And the rest of the galaxy would have to pay the price for their arrogance. Asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The news spread quickly throughout the galaxy. What had started as a small whisper of rumors soon became a loud cry for attention. The Council called an emergency meeting. Leaders from all corners of the galaxy gathered, their faces grim as they took their seats. They were no longer discussing trivial matters. They were about to face the first real test of their authority. Captain Adam Harris sat in the back of the room, watching as the Council members argued. Some insisted it was nothing more than a misunderstanding, a malfunction, or a rumor blown out of proportion. Others, more cautious, believed that the human threat was real and growing. The room was filled with tension, but Adam felt a sinking feeling in his chest. He had been in the military for most of his life, but even he had never seen anything like this. The humans were unpredictable, yes, but they were not known for warfare on this scale. Yet the Council's most recent transmission was clear. The humans had developed something powerful, something far beyond their usual capabilities. Do we really believe they have the strength to challenge us? One of the leaders asked, his voice filled with doubt. They are a small, insignificant species. Could they possibly threaten the stability of the galaxy? The room fell silent for a moment, as if waiting for someone to prove the point. Could feel the eyes of the Council members on him. He had been silent throughout the meeting, but now he stood. We cannot ignore the elders' warnings any longer, Adam said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. The humans may be small, but they have a strength we've underestimated for far too long. If we don't act now, it will be too late. The room went quiet. The leaders exchanged nervous glances. Some looked ashamed, others uneasy. They had all heard the elders' warnings, but none of them had taken it seriously. Now, the truth was staring them in the face, and they were no longer sure how to respond. The decision was made quickly. The Council would send a fleet to investigate. If the humans posed a real threat, they would act swiftly and decisively. But deep down, Adam knew that no matter how quickly they moved, they were already behind. The humans had already taken the first step, and they would not stop until their message was heard. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The fleet arrived at the coordinates where the humans had been spotted. Adam stood at the bridge, his eyes scanning the display as the ships appeared on the screen. They were unlike anything the Council had seen before, sleek, powerful, and larger than any of the smaller human vessels they had once known. Those ships aren't human, one of the officers said, his voice shaking. How could they build this in such a short time? Adam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The humans had always been underestimated, But this was something different. They had somehow created a fleet that could rival the greatest forces in the galaxy. No one had seen it coming. The Council's ships moved into position, ready to confront the threat. The order was clear: investigate, and if necessary, engage. Adam's ship, the Resolute, was at the front of the line. He glanced at the crew around him. They were all tense, knowing that the outcome of this mission could change everything. As they approached the human fleet, the tension in the air was palpable. No one knew what to expect, but Adam could feel that something was off. This wasn't a simple misunderstanding or a rogue fleet. The humans were ready for this confrontation. It planned for it. Suddenly the calm of space was shattered by a message. It came through the comms, loud and clear. "This is the human fleet. We are here to discuss terms. Stand down or face the consequences." Adam's heart skipped a beat. He had heard rumors about the human's weapon, but hearing it confirmed in that cold, calm voice was something else entirely. This wasn't just a warning, it was a declaration of war. "Should we respond?" one of the officers asked, his voice nervous. "No," Adam said firmly. "We move forward as planned." They approached the human fleet, and for a moment there was a deadly silence. Then, without warning, the humans fired. The first shot was so powerful it sent shockwaves through the Resolute. Adam gripped the console, trying to keep his bearings. "This isn't just a message," Adam whispered to himself. "This is a threat we can't ignore." Humans weren't playing games. They had already made their move, and now the galaxy would face the consequences of its mistakes. Asterisk, 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 the battle had started. The humans fired again, their weapon tearing through the fleet with ease. Adam watched in disbelief as ships from the Council's fleet were destroyed in an instant. Humans' weapon was far more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. "We're losing them," an officer shouted as the shields of their ship flickered, barely holding under the force. Of the blasts, Adam didn't respond immediately. His mind was racing. What had the humans done? How had they developed such power without anyone noticing? For a moment, he thought back to the elders and their warnings. They had spoken of humans in ways that seemed impossible. They had told stories of humans who could overcome any challenge, no matter how great, but Adam had never taken them seriously until now. "We need to retreat," another officer said, looking to Adam for guidance. But Adam's eyes were locked on the human ships, which were closing in fast. There was no time for retreat. The humans weren't going to stop. "Prepare to return fire," Adam ordered. He clenched his fists as he gave the command, knowing that even with all their strength, they were no match for the humans' new weapon. The ships around them fired back, but it felt like a pointless struggle. Each shot from the Council's fleet was swallowed by the power of the human weapons. Adam's heart sank as he realized the truth. They were no longer in control of the situation. "We should have listened," Adam muttered to himself. He had seen the arrogance in the faces of the Council members, the belief that their superiority would keep them safe. They had been wrong. Humans weren't just a small, insignificant species. They were a force to be reckoned with, one that no one had taken seriously until it was too late. As the battle raged on, Adam's mind kept returning to the elders' warnings. They had spoken of a time when humanity would rise up and change the course of history. It seemed that time had arrived. And now, the galaxy would have to face the consequences of ignoring the most important truth of all. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The Council's fleet had been shattered. Only a few ships remained, barely holding together. The humans' weapon had proven too strong, and the once great alliance was now on the verge of collapse. Adam stood at the front of the bridge, staring. At the stars outside the window, his mind was numb from everything that had happened in the past few hours. They had tried everything. Every tactic, every weapon in their arsenal had failed against the humans. There had been no mercy, no hesitation. The humans fought with a ferocity and determination that was unlike anything Adam had ever seen. Captain Officer's voice pulled him from his thoughts. It was Major Liz Warren, a trusted member of his crew. "We need to make a decision. The fleet's not going to survive much longer if we don't act." Adam turned to face her. He had seen the same look in her. eyes that he had seen in his own reflection earlier. Fear, desperation. But there was something else now, something deeper, a sense of regret. "They're not going to stop," Adam said, his voice quiet. The humans thought. "They've shown us what they're capable of, and we've underestimated them for too long." Liz nodded, but her eyes were filled with uncertainty. "We can still try to send a message. Maybe negotiate, Adam?" interrupted. "What can we offer them that they don't already have?" "They don't want a negotiation. They want control." The words felt bitter in his mouth. He had never imagined the galaxy's greatest powers would fall to something as small and insignificant as humanity. But now the truth was clear. The humans had finally proven that size and strength weren't the only factors that determined power. The humans had a drive, a fire that the galaxy had never seen before. "They were right," Adam said softly. "The elders warned us. They told us what would happen if we kept underestimating humans. And now we're paying the price." Liz looked at him, her expression solemn. "What do we do now?" Adam didn't have an answer. The fight was no longer just about defending their fleets or their colonies. It was about survival. The galaxy had made its mistake, and now humanity had become a force that would reshape everything. Adam could only wonder how much worse it would get before it was all over. Asterisk, 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 days passed. And the galaxy continued to tremble under the weight of humanity's power. Adam and his crew were stationed aboard what remained of their flagship. That resolute, the council had been quiet, unwilling to admit the truth of their defeat. But Adam knew the war was lost. It was only a matter of time before the humans reached them. "We can't keep running forever," Liz said as she entered the bridge, her face weary from days of battle. "We've lost too much." The fleet scattered. "And the humans?" She paused, shaking her head. "They've already won." Adam looked out at the stars, his mind heavy with the same realization. The humans had proven themselves. The galaxy's great powers were nothing in comparison to what they had built. Their new weapon, their strength, it was clear now that they had been playing a different game all along. "I tried to warn them," Adam said, his voice hoarse. "We should have listened to the elders, but we were too proud, too sure of ourselves. And now we have to face the consequences." Liz glanced at the screen, where the human fleet was shown to be closing in on the remaining council strongholds. "So what now? Do we surrender? Do we just hand everything over?" Adam turned back to her, his eyes tired but resolute. "No, we can't just give up, but we need to make a choice. We can either fight and die, or we can try to find another way. It's too late for peace, but we owe it to the galaxy to at least try." The silence in the room was deafening. Everyone knew that fighting back would be pointless. The humans had already shown their strength. But surrendering meant giving up everything. It meant admitting that they had been wrong all along. "We'll have to reach out to them," Adam continued, his voice steady. "We don't know what they want, but we need to ask. Maybe there's still a way to stop this from becoming a war we can't survive." Liz nodded slowly. "It's a risk, but I don't think we have much choice." As Adam prepared to send a message to the human fleet, he felt a cold weight in his chest. This wasn't just a matter of victory or defeat. It was about saving what little remained of the galaxy. And deep down, Adam knew that the humans weren't going to stop, not until they had everything. Asterisk, 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 the message was sent. Adam watched as the transmission light blinked green, indicating it had been received. I'd felt like the calm before a storm. For the first time since the battle began, there was a sense of quiet in the bridge. No one knew what would happen next. Would the humans respond with more force, or would they offer a chance for peace? Hours passed. The fleet continued its slow advance towards the last remaining council strongholds. Adam felt the weight of every second, each one bringing them closer to a final confrontation. Then the comms suddenly lit up, cutting through the silence. A voice, calm and measured, came through. "This is Captain Emma Lawson of the human fleet. We have received your message. We are prepared to discuss terms." Adam's heart raced. The humans were actually willing to talk. He had expected more threats, not a chance to negotiate. The officers around him looked at each other, their their faces a mix of surprise and disbelief. "Prepare the Council's representatives," Adam said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We're going to meet them." He stepped away from the console, his mind swirling. Was this just another trap? The humans had shown no mercy so far, but could they actually be offering a way out? He couldn't trust them fully. But this was the first opportunity they had to save what was left of the galaxy. When the Council's representatives arrived on the Resolute's bridge, the mood shifted. Tension was still thick in the air, but there was a small glimmer of hope. The humans wanted to talk. That at least was something. The meeting was held in a quiet room away from the main bridge. The humans sent Captain Lawson to speak for them. She was tall, with sharp eyes that seemed to see right through Adam. Her calm demeanor was unsettling, as though she had already won. And this was just a formality. "We've received your offer," Captain Lawson began. "But we have a simple question for you. Why should we stop now? Why should we end this before it's truly over?" Adam stared at her, feeling the weight of the question. The answer wasn't easy, and he didn't know if he had one at all. "We're asking for peace, not surrender," he said. "We don't want more destruction." For the first time, Lawson smiled slightly. "That's a start." Asterisk, 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 the conversation with Captain Lawson didn't go as Adam had hoped. Despite their desire for peace, the humans weren't willing to back down. They had made it clear that they had no interest in surrendering or returning to the status quo. Humanity had changed, and the galaxy would have to adapt to that fact. The Council representatives were frustrated, unsure of how to proceed. Many of them still believed that the humans could be pushed back, that there was a way to reclaim control. But Adam had seen the power the humans held. He knew there was no turning back now. "I don't think we have much time," Major Liz Warren said quietly, watching the stars through the bridge's viewports. "The human fleet is already too close. If we don't act fast, we could lose everything." Adam stood next to her, his mind racing. It was true. The Council's forces were scattered, weak. They couldn't keep up with the humans' advance. What they needed was a strategy, but he wasn't sure what that could be. Every attempt at resistance had failed. "They want control," Adam said, his voice low. "They've shown us that they're not interested in anything else. If we keep fighting, we'll just be destroyed. But if we give in, what will we lose?" Liz looked at him, concern in her eyes. "We'll lose everything. The galaxy. The alliances. Our way of life." Adam nodded. He knew the cost of surrendering. But the other option, fighting to the last breath, felt like a death sentence for everyone. Dude didn't want to see his crew, his people, die in a battle that was already lost. "I think we have to make a choice," Adam said, his voice firm. "It's not about surrendering. It's about survival. We need to offer something the humans will respect, a way to work together." Liz didn't say anything, but her silence spoke volumes. They both knew that the galaxy as it had once been was gone. They were on the edge of a new world, one where humanity held the power, and the rest of the galaxy had to adjust. "We'll have to go to the human fleet," Adam said. "We'll offer them a deal. We'll show them that we're willing to listen, but we need to be ready for whatever comes next." As he turned to leave the bridge, Adam felt a sense of unease. They were no longer fighting for control of the galaxy. They were fighting for survival in a galaxy that had already changed. Asterisk, asterisk. The meeting with the humans was set. Adam and the Council's representatives prepared to face the fleet that had crushed their forces so easily. The uncertainty weighed heavily on Adam as he stood on the bridge, his mind turning over the last few days. Could they still save anything? Or was the galaxy already lost? "We're ready, Captain," Liz said, her voice steady despite the tension that filled the air. She looked at Adam, waiting for him to make the final decision. Adam took a deep breath. He had made up his mind. "We'll go, but we go as equals, not as beggars." His eyes scanned the crew, and he saw the uncertainty in their faces. The battle had been hard on everyone, and the humans were still a mystery. No one knew what they really wanted, but one thing was clear. The humans had the power. Now, it was up to them to offer something that could keep peace from slipping away. Completely. The shuttle was prepared, and the council's representatives boarded with a sense of grim resolve. Adam's thoughts were interrupted by the hum of the ship's engines. The journey to the human fleet was quiet, each minute feeling like an hour. The silence was heavy, filled with the weight of what was at stake. When they arrived, the human fleet loomed large in front of them. It was impressive, almost intimidating, but Adam kept his posture straight. The humans had already shown their strength, but Adam wasn't going to back down. They had to at least try to come to an understanding. They were escorted into a large room aboard one of the human ships. Captain Emma Lawson was waiting for them. She stood tall, her expression unreadable. "Welcome," she said simply. There was no warmth, but no hostility either. It was as if she had seen this all before. "I assume you've come to discuss terms?" Adam nodded. "We've come to talk about the future of the galaxy, and the role humanity will play in it." Lawson's eyes studied him for a moment. "And what do you offer?" Adam paused. It was a simple question, but the answer was anything but. What could they offer that would keep the peace, yet not lose everything they had worked for? What was left to offer when the balance of power had shifted so dramatically? "We offer cooperation," Adam said finally. "Not submission, but a partnership. A new way forward. Together." There was a long silence. Lawson's expression didn't change, but Adam could feel the weight of her judgment. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The silence in the room stretched on, heavy with the weight of Adam's words. He stood before Captain Lawson, waiting for her response. The human fleet. Around them was vast and intimidating, but Adam didn't look away. If humanity was going to take control of the galaxy, the Council had to show that they were more than just a defeated species. They had to show strength, too. Finally, Lawson spoke. Her voice calm but firm. "Cooperation?" she asked, almost as if testing the word. "You think the galaxy will accept that? You think humanity will just become part of the system like it was before?" Adam nodded. "It's not part of the system as it was. A new system. One where we work together, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals." Lawson's expression softened slightly, but it was clear she was still weighing his words. "And what does humanity expect in return?" "We expect respect," Adam said, his voice steady. "Respect for our rights, for our place in this galaxy. We're not asking for everything, but we will not be treated like we are insignificant anymore. We've shown that we can rise. We've proven our strength, but we also know we can't do this alone." Lawson's gaze moved past him, looking out toward the vast space beyond. Adam could see her thinking. It wasn't an easy decision, but he could feel the shift in the air. Something had changed in the way the humans saw them. Perhaps it was a small change, but it was enough to hold on to. "All right," Lawson said. After a long pause, "We'll give you that. Respect and a place in this new order. But this is the last chance, Adam. The last time anyone will accept weakness. If we fail, the galaxy won't just fall into chaos, it will burn." Adam's heart raced as he nodded. This was it, the moment they had all been waiting for. The old order was gone, but a new one had begun. One that was uncertain, but perhaps not hopeless. The humans were powerful, but they had also shown they were willing to listen. The galaxy was not lost, but it was forever changed. And in that change, Adam knew humanity would play its part not as a small, significant species, but as one that had fought its way to the top. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.